Good afternoon, and welcome to the Louisiana Scholars College Class of 2020 Senior Celebration. So what do we have in store for you today? We've tried to combine some of the traditions of the final semester of Students' Time in Scholars and put them together here for us all to experience together. So we have the traditional director's toast from Formal. We have some of the aspects of thesis barbecue, the toasts and roasts, the laying the hand on Moliere, declaring the name of the thesis, saying what future plans are, and being declared a scholar, and the selected speakers from graduation, as well as President Maggio, to wish you well. I'm very excited that you all could get together with us today to celebrate the amazing achievements of the Louisiana Scholars College Class of 2020. Enjoy. To the Louisiana Scholars College Class of 2020. There's a great deal of talk about what we can learn from the current situation, what we can learn about the world, about education, about politics, about humanity, about ourselves. As I toast you, the Scholars College Class of 2020, I want to highlight what I have learned from each of you and to thank you for those amazing lessons. I walked into Morrison Hall only moments before you, and we began our scholars' journey together. I was completely and utterly confused when young Jared Parks walked into my office with Dr. Bizwari asking about things in a seemingly completely alien language. I learned how to navigate the world of Northwestern State and scholars alongside you. I have learned both with and from you, laughed with you, cried with you, even dressed up for Halloween with you. And from Murder at Morrison to Cards Against Humanity nights, it was clear that you were a class like no other. Seemingly forged in fire, you've embraced adversity, risen to conquer every challenge, and inspired each other and me to achieve more than we ever thought possible. United and completely individual, you embody the best in all of us. Maya, you've reminded me to find the magic in every day and to find joy in things big and small. Alexis, your undaunting determination has reminded me to keep striving for the very best. Madison, your dedication to helping others, to seeing the great potential in everyone, has reminded me that compassion is critical to our lives. Claire, your quick smile and contagious laugh never fail to brighten my day and remind me of the value of kindness and friendship. Jade, you constantly show me that all things are possible, to never give up, to never yield, yet maybe occasionally to give ourselves a break. Allison, you've showed me that it's vitally important to see the and in others and in yourself, to be beautiful and intelligent, to have strength and compassion, to be a scholar and a queen. Julian, you have reminded me of the value of decorum, the strength of formality, and the depth of great truths. Devin, you continually show me and show us all the strength in quiet and not to overlook anyone, as there's always more than meets the eye. Nick, the force of your wit and the dedication to knowledge and experience has renewed my love of the uncharted course. Chelsea, you have reminded me of the great necessity of grounding, that a firm foothold and solid foundation make the climb higher and the experience richer. Zach, You've reminded me of the value of the subtle, of the quiet, and of the rich laugh. Bailey. Bailey. Oh, come on, he knew I had to do that. Your boundless energy and selflessness continually remind me of the greatness in us all. Jared. From you, I have learned the strength of acceptance, of understanding, of listening, and that showing my weakness allows others to help. Thank you for always stepping in when I needed it. Haley, you have reminded me of the value of stepping outside my comfort zone and being open to new experiences and divergent things. Colleen, you, my dear, have reminded me, and possibly learned from me, that wanderlust is real. There is no cure. But not all those that wander are lost. Sometimes that's when we're actually found. Isaiah, you have reminded me that all experiences have value and are opportunities to learn and grow. Jamian, from you, I am constantly reminded of the rejuvenating energy of laughter and good conversation. Mary, you very recently reminded me that technology will actively work against us. But more importantly, that keeping our wits about us allows us to move forward and exceed expectations. Aaron, to say that I gained my appreciation for wombats while knowing you is true. And actually, like you, has more depth than you might originally guess. Because like wombats, you gather those around you who need you. You help them find shelter from the storm. And you only let them go when they're ready. Ellis, oh, you've shown me and reminded me that compassion, dedication, and grace are some of the most important qualities that anyone can possess. Ashley, you remind me to take the difficult path, to strive for that which is uncommon, and to enjoy the journey. The bonds that you formed to each other and to scholars, they're made of such strong stuff. They can easily withstand 6 feet of distance or 6,000 miles. You will always be connected. You will always be my demon scholars. I thank you for everything I've learned from you, everything you've taught me. And I'm not editing this video because I think it's important for you to see. Uncut and raw. You guys are amazing. I cherish you all. Thank you for the last 4 years.
Chelsea girl, oh, I have so enjoyed knowing you for the past 4 years. Your sweet smile, your absolutely scintillating mind, your beautiful, beautiful writing, and I will miss all that. I probably won't miss your anxiety because your anxiety made me anxious, and we just probably fed on each other. But while you were in my classes, I always knew that when your papers came in, I was going to be reading stellar work. And I sometimes put yours at the bottom of the pile so I could enjoy them without worrying about having to make too many comments, grammatical or stylistic, because I knew your work was so good. As for your anxiety, all I can say is there are many people who should be anxious who aren't about the quality of the work they do. And you can maybe ease up on that a little bit because you do outstanding work. At the same time, I have to say I was really grateful that not for a single nanosecond did I have to worry about you not finishing your thesis. I knew it was going to be done on time. I knew it was going to be done brilliantly, and it was. And I so enjoyed the texts that we got to discuss together as a result of that. You gave me some good ideas for reading material and perhaps even a course. I don't know. Anyway, I know you're not absolutely certain what happens next, but I know that whatever you choose to do, you're going to do it extraordinarily well, and you're going to do it with humor and grace and probably some anxiety. But eventually, at some point you hit 30 and the anxiety goes away. That's pretty much all I can promise you. I will miss you. Stay in touch. Stay well.
Chelsea, will you please tell us the title of your thesis?
The title of my thesis is The Liberation of Gay Protagonists and Relationships in 20th Century Literature.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you've graduated?
I'm going to take off a few months and I'm going to start graduate school next January.
Nice. Well, congratulations. Once a scholar, you are always a scholar. And I now declare you officially graduated from Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, Colleen. Or should I say Claire, since it's pretty much taken me most of 4 years to convince myself that a woman named Colleen does not indeed need to be dark haired. And I'm sorry for all the times I called you Claire, but I still think that you look like a Claire. Go figure. But at any rate, I very rarely remember students from Scholars Days or orientation, Freshman Connection, because I've been here so many years and there have been so many of them. And it's only once they get into my classes that they become like real people to me. But you were the exception. I remember you so vividly from the day at Freshman Connection when we worked out your schedule. And I just remember thinking how absolutely sweet you were and what a bright light you were. And once you came to the college, I just so welcomed your hugs, because whenever I would see you in the hall, even when you weren't taking a class from me, you always wanted a hug. And I was so willing to give hugs because I'm a hugger and I need those hugs as well. And these days, hugs have become kind of a wishy-washy area in terms of appropriateness. And so I was really grateful when I'd see you and your arms were out and I could have a great big hug from you. I was so proud of you when you chose to do some time abroad. And I loved seeing your Facebook posts, especially when at the beginning you were going to post something new every day about what you explored and what you did. Of course, your work got in the way, as it should do, but I felt like I was living some of that with you, and I so wished I could have been with you. And I hope the travel bug has bitten you as much as it has bitten me, and that you continue to spend much of your time, as much as you can afford, traveling, because it is truly the best joy in life as far as I'm concerned. I really loved working with you on your thesis. I felt at times we were getting dangerously close to softcore porn with some of those Victoria's Secret photographs, but it was really good to work on a feminist thesis with someone who's looking at body imaging and how it still affects people, and how after all these years women are still hypersexualized, and doesn't make sense, but it's still happening, and your work on that was really, really important. Again, I'm not altogether sure what you're going to do next, but I know that you will be successful in whatever you do, and I hope you keep working on your topic, because it truly is an important one. All I can say now is if there was ever a student I wanted to give a hug to say goodbye, it was you, but the virtual hug's gonna have to do. So, Colleen, Claire, Colleen, be well.
All right, Colleen, can you please put your hand on the bust of Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
The title of my thesis is The Effects of Sexualized and Idealized Social Media Advertisements on Body Satisfaction in Young Women.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you are graduated?
Well, I originally planned to join the Peace Corps, going to a country called Timor-Leste, which is right south of the Philippines. If the pandemic ends before the deadline, then I'll still apply for that. If not, I'll apply for grad school either in the spring or in the fall.
Excellent. Well, it is my great honor to say once a scholar, always a scholar, and you are officially graduated from Louisiana Scholars College. Oh, hey, I tried to fork them, but it cut it off.
Hello, Mary, sweet Mary. Whoever came up with the phrase, still waters run deep, must have known you. You glided through the halls of Morrison with your golden mane of hair like a medieval princess. and you were so silent until you got to class. And the comments you made were so insightful and spot on. And your writing was just so powerful. Your love of historiography impressed me so much in the DV class. And I so remember the excellent essay you wrote for me then. You are so self-effacing, and I wish that you could see yourself through my eyes and see how much I admire you and how I find you so intelligent and so worth listening to and just so lovely. You write so very well, and that's a quality that means a great deal to me. I'm a writing teacher. I also always loved seeing you in Zach and Madison's dorm room down the hall in the fishbowl. You chose your friends very wisely, and they chose you very wisely. And as I mentioned in Zach's video, it's never going to be the same walking by that room without seeing all of y'all in there, enjoying each other's company, working together. It's truly a rare quality when you can actually work with people. And I think, I don't mean shared projects, but when you can all work on your own projects, but be in proximity to each other. And you all really managed that with, of course, the little bouts of laughter and the conversation. You had something so rare and beautiful in those friendships. And I hope all of y'all keep connected, because that's really important. Those ties that you establish in college will tend to keep you strong. They stay with you a long, long time. I'm still best friends with my best friend from college. You are worth knowing. You are so lovely. I don't know where you're going next, but know your own worth. And just wish I had your hair. Bye. Zach, I am going to miss you so much. I have such fond memories of you from the first day I got to know you in gender class. All the classes you took with me added to my sense that you are truly a remarkable person. I remember your insightful comments in the post-colonial novels class and in the Morrison class. And I will never forget the glee on your face and the giggle that escaped you when I pointed out how the character of Guitar in Song of Solomon is portrayed as a cat, and Milkman is repeatedly described as a bird, and how cats eat birds. Your giggle is something I will truly miss, because it's always been such a joy. I also am very fond of your dad's comment that when he said to you, are you the only boy in her class again? I am so glad that you chose to put up with all us women and be the only boy in all those wonderful lit classes, so that I could share time with you and share your knowledge and learn from you, as I hope you have learned from me. I will never walk by the fishbowl without remembering that I considered it your and Madison's dorm room. I repeatedly told you to put cots in there so you could stay there and make your lives easier. That became your sanctuary and a place where your friends could hang out with you, and it's never going to be the same walking by there again. I loved working on your thesis with you. It's not something I'd ever seriously thought about before, how libraries are impacted by both wars and being in places where there is political resistance to the kind of materials that libraries must have. And it was just really, truly an impressive piece of work. Good luck in Iowa. Make sure before you go to do some serious shopping for winter clothes and perhaps a snow shovel. Anyway, stay in touch.
Zach, can you please put your hand on Moliere and tell us the name of your thesis?
The name of my thesis is The Protection of Library Services in the Middle East and Rural America.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you are a graduate?
I'm going to be going to the University of Iowa for grad school in library science.
Woohoo! So it is my great, great privilege and honor to say once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations.
Ooh, thank you.
Woohoo!
Yay!
I can't do fork. There we go. I did it there.
Okay, now I'd like to say a few words about Haley Pickett. What can I say about Haley? First, as many of you know, Haley is a pretty quiet young woman. I haven't been able to figure out if she's shy, or she's so smart with conversations with other people don't stimulate her very much, or she just doesn't say anything unless it's very important to her. I'm just kidding on those. I do know that as her advisor, she didn't tell me she was getting married, and I didn't know she got married and for some time after she was married a few years back. I had this advisee named Haley Peace, And then I noticed that my advisee list had Haley Pickett on it. I didn't know who Haley Pickett was until I discovered it another way and found out she'd been married, but no word to me. Okay, none of my business, I guess. But she really has been a joy to work with, very seriously. Maybe a quiet joy, but a very nice joy to work with. Just one thing about her, besides working on the thesis, she went with us to Belize last summer on the pre-med medical mission trip. And during that time, yes, again, she was pretty quiet, but she was extremely cooperative and one of the most dependable people that I've had on the trip. Again, back to her thesis, I have to say that Haley's thesis was one of the easiest first readership situations that I've had. She was always on time with assignments, if not early. Things came in well prepared. She responded very well to my comments. Again, it was just an easy assignment. It would be great if all the thesis students were as easy as her, but they're not. And I'm just thankful I had Haley this year. Thank you.
All right, please tell us your thesis title.
My thesis title was Correlations Between Vaccination Opinions and Informational Source Types.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you've graduated?
I plan to eventually attend PA school and hopefully become a PA.
Excellent. Well, once a scholar, always a scholar. It's my privilege and honor to officially declare you graduated from the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations.
Yay, thank you.
Yay.
Okay, so right now we are starting another one of the roast or toast of the graduating seniors. And this one is for Jamian Sampson. Jamian has not taken a lot of courses with me. In fact, I think he only took Biology 1 and Biology 2 with the labs, and also took one science seminar. And also, I've not been his advisor. So most of my experience with Jamian has been working with him on his senior thesis. Now, I do admit that my memory of Jamian's performance in Biology 1 and 2 4 years ago is pretty vague. I guess that means he didn't bother me. He wasn't a person who did really stupid stuff in that course, but maybe he wasn't one that stood out fantastically. He was just a good student. I do remember Jamian in science seminar, where I have to say that quite often his questions or comments were, how should I say it, very interesting. I don't remember any specific questions or comments, but my general impression was that Jamian's comments usually introduced a new way of thinking about the topic that we were considering. But again, most of my experience with Jamian was on his senior thesis project, where he was very good to work with. He was very cooperative. I was a first reader on his thesis, and Dr. Ma, a microbiologist, was his second reader. Jamian chose Dr. Ma as a second reader because he did a microbiology-related topic. More specifically, he looked at the knowledge of NSU students about bacteria and other food pathogens. And without going into any detail on that, I think he concluded that students at NSU have a lot to learn in order to stay safe and not get food poisoning. Overall, like I said, he was very cooperative, especially considering that he had to put up with some differences of opinion between myself and Dr. Ma. But fortunately, Dr. Ma yielded to my view as first reader, and it didn't cause Jamian as much trouble as it might have. There is one more thing I want to point out about Jamian, and this is really a toast, not a roast. The senior theses archival copy were due on April 24th. On April 22nd, Jamian's grandmother died from COVID-19. She'd been fighting COVID for a month. I really got the idea from Jamian that she was the matriarch of his family, and he was very close to her. She died 2 days before his archival copy was due, and his archival copy was submitted on time, not even close to late. He also worked on revisions of that archival copy in the days that followed. I think this is quite commendable. I can't even imagine doing it with a close relative having just died. But through all of that, Jamian didn't complain, or at least he didn't complain to Dr. Ma or to me. Thank you.
Jamian, will you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
Yes, I will.
Excellent.
The title of my thesis is Assessing the Knowledge of Northwestern State College Students on Food Pathogens.
Fabulous. And what are your plans for after graduation?
I plan to attend a one-year master's postbac to improve my GPA and MCAT score. And with these improved scores, I plan to apply to medical school and pursue my dreams of becoming a physician.
Fabulous. Well, it is my great honor and privilege to say once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello. So here is another one of the roast for the graduating seniors. And this one is from Madison Binge. Now, Madison didn't do her thesis with me, and she hasn't taken many of my classes because she took was Biology 1 and Biology 2. But I did get to know her a little bit better on the pre-med medical mission trip to Belize a few years ago. Actually, my wife got to know Madison even better than I did because Madison was my wife's spotter in the van that my wife drove in Belize. Now, spotter, what is that? A spotter is an extremely important position, extremely important role. This is a person who helps the driver watch for people who are on the road. Those people may be walking, they may be on bicycles, they may be on horses. Part of the time we were driving in the night. So the spotter is very important. Also in Belize, they have huge speed bumps. We kind of call them speed bumps with attitude. They're more like a sidewalk that goes across the road. Most of these are not marked, and when you're driving down the road at 60 miles an hour or faster, and all of a sudden there's a speed bump, which can throw the people in the van into the ceiling. The spotter has to warn the driver about those. And Madison had that very important role for my wife. Now, Madison went to Belize right after her freshman year, and most students go later, after their sophomore or junior year, perhaps. Despite being just a freshman, just finishing the freshman year, Madison was very responsible on the trip and very helpful. Beyond that, Madison connected with the people in Belize. Now, this had an impact because after she came back to the U.S., she got connected, she became friends with a few of the Belizeans that I brought here to NSU. And I think that was very important for those Belizeans to have someone here that knew a little bit about their country and could connect to them. There's one more thing I want to say about Madison. I just learned that Madison has majored in psychology. I didn't know that till like last week or so. And beyond that, she wants to become a school psychologist. This is interesting because my wife is a school psychologist. And Madison spent a lot of hours with my wife and the van and also doing other things in Belize. I don't know if my wife had any impact on Madison's decision to become a school psychologist, but maybe those long hours in the van did. At least I'd like to think that. Anyway, congratulations, Madison.
Will you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the name of your thesis?
A cross-cultural examination of autism spectrum disorder diagnosis and treatment.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you are a graduate?
I am going to work as a behavioral therapist in Shreveport for a little bit, and then I'm going to apply for graduate school to become a school psychologist.
Fabulous. Well, it is my great honor to say once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations.
Yay.
Tevin Johnson, another one of my students to roast. Tevin is an interesting young man. He's had lots of classes with me. Biology, developmental biology, neurobiology, one science seminar at least. He's had a lot. I've been his advisor for 4 years since he's been here, and he did his thesis with me. He's probably sick of me. Going back to 4 years ago, I remember very well when Tevin came to Freshman Connection. He came to the last Freshman Connection of the summer. And all of you probably know that by the time you get to the last Freshman Connection, there aren't many classes that are available. They're filled up. And what that meant for Tevin is that, also considering he was playing football and all those classes had to be before the early afternoon, that first semester he was not able to take any science classes. and he has been scientific inquired with hopes to go to medical school. This made it really tough to get classes for Tevin. Started off without any science classes, but now after 4 years, he's caught up. Quite an accomplishment. As my advisee and then this past year as my thesis student, Tevin has spent a lot of time in my office. Several times over the years, I've suggested to him, I've even pushed him, I would say, to consider dropping football, which he's played the full time he's been here. I said this because at the start, after he got here as a freshman, he didn't have a scholarship. He didn't get to play in the games, and he was risking injury, like brain injury to himself or injury to his hands, and he wants to be a doctor. So I just thought maybe this was not the best thing for you to be doing. But Tevin stuck it out, and he made it. And the wild thing is, 4 years later, 3 years later when he started, Tevin did his senior thesis on what? On brain injury in football players. He didn't actually do a study of the brain injuries, but he looked at NSU football players and their knowledge about brain injury. What the risk of brain injury are, what it does to a person, and what it may mean in terms of consequences for their lifetime later, for the careers that they may go into, whether it's football or something else. So even though Tevin didn't seem to be hearing my suggestions about his own participation in football, maybe something kind of got into his brain. Maybe it crept in, and he did his thesis on that. But all in all, Tevin came out pretty much okay. He's made very good grades. That's all I can say now. He's succeeded, starting off behind, playing football for 4 years, and completed a thesis. Congratulations.
Tevin, can you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
Yes, ma'am. The title of my thesis is Butting Heads with Safety, Do College Football Players Run the Risk of Play?
Awesome. And what are your plans for after graduation?
My plans after graduation is to attend medical school in hopes of becoming a successful surgeon.
Awesome. Well, it is my great honor and privilege to say, once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations. Woo-hoo!
Well, today's a great day. I get to talk about one of my favorite guys, Nicholas Juneau, who I got a chance to work with too late in the day, I think, too late in his career. I only met Nick maybe a year ago, and that was it. I missed out on the first 3 years or so of his time here at Scholars, which is my loss because he was a great student and has done a lot for the place. Well, everyone will say that. So he. No, he doesn't. He's very modest. I can talk about Nick as a scholar and what an awesome job he did on his thesis and how much fun I used to have visiting with him and talking about it, and the give and take that went along with the process. I was impressed by the kind of research he did, but I was also impressed by how closely he listened, the efforts he made, to take criticism in a constructive way and to make the most of it. He was never defensive, and his attitude was always very positive. That leads me to something about Nick, the person, Nicholas, the person, that affability, right? That maturity, I think those are two things I would talk about perhaps, or think about when it comes to Nick. This sense of humor. He's an interesting guy, right? I mean, here's this guy, a Southern man in many respects, proud of where he's from, Louisiana boy, really, but been around a bit. He's traveled the world. He has a taste for that, and to pursue those things, to explore those things, makes him kind of an interesting guy. And actually, I think people are going to say this to you a lot, Nick, this time of your life, to find yourself this time of life, like your friends, your peers here. But it's hard to appreciate, that how much there is ahead of you, how much there is to do, how much that can be done. they said the same thing to all of us, when your age, and we tended to like, yeah, right, okay, whatever. But time teaches you that that's really true, and I'm excited for the opportunity uh, that you have, all the opportunities I should say that you have. I really believe that some great things are ahead for you. You have the smarts, you have the maturity, the temperament, you have the sense of humor, the insights, and I think a hard work and a good work ethic too. And you bring a lot to the table. You have a lot of talents. Your education, your smarts, your language skills, your cultural competencies. You know, I think you can go in almost any direction, and that's really exciting to think about. I hope it's exciting for you to think about. I think it is. And just to say again, congratulations to you, and I hope that we'll stay in touch, and we'll have another attempt. We'll have a chance to celebrate your accomplishments in person as soon as all of this virus stuff is behind us. So my very best to you and your family, and congratulations again on a job very well done.
Nick, will you please put your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
My thesis title is The Continuation of the Revolutionary Tradition in France's Protest Culture, the Example of May, 1968.
Excellent. And what are your plans for after graduation?
I am awaiting an acceptance to go and assistant teach in France in a middle school or high school.
That's fabulous. So now I get the very, very wonderful privilege of saying once a scholar, always a scholar, and declaring you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. So woohoo!
Julian, I hope this finds you well. I want you to know that I enjoyed having you as a student, both in Russian and in economics. I foresee a bright future for you, whether it's in the State Department or whether it's as President of Columbia. If it's as President of Columbia, do try to avoid being president for life. That's not a great career path. I hope that you take care of yourself. I felt a little fatherly at times, wondering, where is he? Why doesn't he keep in touch? I even called the hospital once. I've only done that for my own children. So do take care. Stay in touch with us. Let us know how things are going. I'm not going to roast you at all. I think you've been a good part of the Scholars College, and you'll be missed. Have a good life.
Can you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
Certainly can. My thesis is called The New Great Turn, A Possible Solution to the Venezuelan Crisis.
Excellent. Well, and what are your plans for after graduation?
Right now, go get ice cream and then possibly write a novel.
Excellent. Will you name a character after me?
Certainly so, Dr. Bottles.
Wonderful. Well, it is my great honor and privilege to say once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations. Woohoo!
I'm thankful. It has been a wonderful experience.
Excellent.
Hello, Isaiah. I just wanted to wish you the best. I hope you have a great life after you leave Scholars College. I enjoyed having you as a student. You're fun to have in class. I think everyone else liked you. You were an asset to the group. I would like to give you one little piece of advice. I know this is a toast roast, not a sage advice thing. But thinking back on the thesis process, let me suggest that when you decide where you're going in life, you write it down, put it over your headboard, put it over your desk, tattoo it on your arm, and check every day to make sure that's where you're going. Because you won't have a thesis advisor calling you in every week to ask you, do you remember your thesis topic? and then reminding you of it so that you can head that way. So this is a little bit of a roast. Keep in touch. We like you. We'd like to see you around when you come back to town. So, have a good life. So long.
Hi, Alexis. I get to do your toast, and I'm very excited to be able to have the opportunity to celebrate you. From the first moment you set foot in Morrison Hall, I knew that you were going to be an unstoppable force. And over the course of the 4 years, you have stayed committed to your goals and dreams. You have grown so much. You have overcome such challenges and obstacles, like getting stranded in a different city. But you have always done everything with such grace, such kindness, that it has been amazing to know you and to learn alongside you. And you are just an absolutely fantastic person. Thank you for everything.
Will you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
Yes. The in silico evaluation of viral insulin-like peptides as potential therapies for diabetes.
And what are your plans for after graduation?
I'm gonna take a gap year to get some more clinical experience and boost my resume and hopefully be accepted to PA school in the next coming year.
Awesome. Well, it is my great privilege to say, once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Woohoo!
Aaron, oh, who would have thought when we started playing Pokemon Go at 7 o'clock in the morning during pre-orientation that we would have the journey we had. You are incredible, inspiring, sometimes a little clumsy, but hey, who else would literally throw their entire body into making sure that a conference is its very, very best? It has been so amazing watching you grow, dressing up for Halloween with you, playing Cards Against Humanity with you, traveling with you, researching with you, and even getting to know more about wallabies with you. You have an incredible future ahead of you. And I cannot wait for you to let me know what you're doing and where you're going, because you are inspiring.
All right, will you please let us know the name of your thesis and your plans for after graduation?
Do I need to put my hand on Moliere already?
You may do that, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Aaron Stevens, Endangered or Endanger, the Endangered Species Act, and Native Louisiana Species. Hopefully, I'll be going to UNO to get my master's in conservation biology.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, and I now officially dub thee a graduated scholar.
Yay!
Hi, Jade. So, when I was thinking about where I should go to do my toast to you, I came here. You can see in the background maybe Holland, Michigan's Big Red Lighthouse. You can see Lake Michigan. You can see the beach. But for you, I'm in the forest. Because you have always taken the more challenging path to get where you want to go. There may be a simpler, there may be a more direct route, but you love to challenge yourself, to take on everything, to conquer it all. You can always see the forest through the trees. You find your way. You help us when we get a little confused. And you make the journey so remarkable. It has been fabulous learning alongside you. You've got great things in your future. And I am so honored to have been a small part of your life. Thanks for everything, Jade.
Can you please tell us your thesis title?
My thesis title was Theater Remains Relevant, Identifying Political Propaganda in Plays.
And what are you doing when you are now that you're finished with the Scholars College in NSU?
Searching for new opportunities.
This sounds fabulous. I know there's going to be a ton for them out there, Jade. And it is my honor and privilege to say, once a scholar, always a scholar. You are officially graduated from Louisiana Scholars College.
Yay!
Hey, good job, Jade.
Thank you.
First thing that impressed me about Bailey was how happy she is. Even when she was stressed with her thesis work, she always had a smile on her face. I began to wonder if she had psychological problems. Maybe she was more than happy. As it turned out, she's just a happy person and likes to have people around her share her happiness. As we worked on her thesis, I was favorably impressed by her determination. She set goals for herself and then stuck to them. She has every intention of achieving her goals and is willing to put in the time and energy to make things happen. Bailey was very worried about her research. It was different than what she was used to doing. Every week she would worry about something. Would she get IRB approval? Enough good responses to her survey? Writing up her results. But as she overcame each obstacle, her confidence in her own ability grew. Her defense was excellent. Bailey is stronger than she knows. She's disciplined but flexible, willing to chase her dream wherever it leads her. Bailey has used her strength and determination to take a leadership role, being president of the Forum Council, in spite of the demands of classes in research and writing. This job takes time and effort, plus patience. She's also served as president of AED Honor Society in her copious spare time, of course.
Bailey, can you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
My thesis is a qualitative analysis of parental decisions in the anti-vaccination movement.
Excellent. And what are your plans once graduation is done?
I hope to attend Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady University to pursue my doctorate in physical therapy.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Thank you.
It is my great honor and privilege to say, once a scholar, always a scholar. I wish I had my lightsaber. I don't. And declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Woohoo!
Oh, Claire, Claire. Sweet and salty. Always there when a friend needs a hug to get them through a time, but doesn't suffer fools lightly. We've had some really interesting conversations in class. Sociologist versus psychologist. Damn, she can ask some good questions. Even amongst psychology majors who ask a lot of questions, she's a questioner. And they're good ones. Great classroom discussions. Conspiracy theory class, violence class. What fun. Thesis. Do I really need to say more? Psycho or psychologist? The future will tell.
Claire, can you please place your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
The title of my thesis is The Perception and Financial Availability of Self-Help Treatments Among College Students.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you've graduated?
My plans for this upcoming year are to figure out what I want to do with my life, and then hopefully the next year continue my education and hopefully one day be a psychologist.
Awesome. Well, it is my great pleasure to say, once a scholar, always a scholar. I can't do the lightsaber dubbing, but I declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations. Woo!
Jerry, what a hippie. I knew I'd like him when he said he grew his hair out to be like me. Bumps the curve on grades. But still he has his serious side. He's not afraid of working to accomplish his goals, except for not using paragraphs. Dives in one side of the ocean and doesn't come up for air till he comes up on the other side. He likes puzzles and analysis. We've had some really good class discussions. Really enjoyed shredding issues with him. Intense with a smile. Not too serious. Life does happen, you know. After chairing his thesis, I could see a future in public health for him applying that analytical mind to those particular puzzles.
Jared, can you please place your hand on Moliere and give us the name or the title of your thesis?
My thesis is The Misinformation Contagion, the Novel Coronavirus.
Excellent. And what are your plans for after graduation?
I'm going to play ungodly amounts of video games.
Awesome. You can help me with my research. All right. It is my great honor and privilege to say, once a scholar, always a scholar, and, declare you a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Woohoo!
Hello there. This is Davina. I am super excited to get to talk about these three wonderful women. Working with them has been fantastic, and they deserve the very best. Unfortunately, the very best wasn't available, so I'm here instead. I'm going to start off with the Disney princess. Mia has been a fantastic student. I love listening to her say words. She has this very specific way of pronouncing things, especially Latin or Latin. I can't do it the same way she does, but it's beautiful and it's so her. And she just loved Disney so much. And it was great having her in class and being corrupted by her. She forced me to watch Legally Blonde, and I really actually loved it. So I thank you for your interest in movies. Certainly Legally Blonde was not something you considered in your thesis, since I don't know that it's got any particular psychological disorder in it, except maybe, well, no, you're the expert on that. I'm not. So I put together some pictures of Mia here so you can get a sense of everything that Mia is. So in the top corner, you see her with some fake cats, which is good because she's allergic to cats. In the middle, you see her on her internship at Disney. She lives in a fantasy land. She loved Disney so much. And that's really cool. At the other top corner, you see her with Phi Kappa Phi. This was an important picture for me to show you because it shows you just how smart she is. And she really is. She works so hard. There's no one I know who works as hard as she does to make sure to get everything done in the best way that she can. And that's something that's really special about Mia. You know, she took a break from Latin and went to Disney, and because of that, yeah, there was a semester gap in between her taking her second semester and her third semester. And she actually took the time to come sit in on the second semester class and learn. And that says a lot about her. Now, while she can be, you know, perfectly composed and poised, the real Mia also is very silly. And it's that silly, wonderful sense of humor, that dedication to others. You know, she's always tried to help her other fellow students out. She has been just an amazing, wonderful person to be around. And there's really no way to tell you just how much I'm going to miss you. And I'm really glad this is a recording because I'm tearing up and that's never a good look. So Mia, congratulations. I loved working with you. I'm going to miss you like crazy. And I hope that Tinkerbell provides you with whatever fairy dust is necessary to make your life perfect. Congratulations.
Can you please put your hand on Moliere and tell us the title of your thesis?
The portrayal of mental health in film, its accuracy, and its potential effect on stigma.
And what are your plans for after graduation?
After graduation, I hope to be working as a psychiatric tech and taking a gap year before I start my master's in clinical psychology.
Excellent. Well, it is my great honor and privilege to say once a scholar, always a scholar, and declare you a graduate of Louisiana Scholars College. Woohoo! Congratulations.
So now we move from a princess to a queen. When Allison first talked to me about directing her thesis on festival queens in Louisiana, I was really interested in the idea because I will admit I'm one of those people. I think that the whole pageant situation, the whole pageant process is often an objectification of women. But through working with Allison, I learned a lot. And I think one of the best questions you were asked in your thesis defense was about the stereotype of the wealthy, fluffy person who tends to be these pageant queens or festival queens. And you said that wasn't what you saw, that that's not who these women are, that they're hardworking college students who care a lot about the place in which they live, since they represent a parish that they live in or live next to, and that they're nothing like the stereotype that people think about. And I thought that that was one of the most important things that you said. I learned a lot from you about what these festivals mean in terms of economics and identity to these places. And that was really wonderful. It's interesting that I first met you really when you took the Cleopatra class. You really have this thing for queens, right? And you're a really great student there. And one of the things I think about with you all the time is walking by the fishbowl, as we refer to it, and you were always sitting there at one of the desks at your laptop working. You've worked a job, you've done as much as you could with the pageant, and really worked very, very hard throughout your career. And I think that that's going to be one of the best things for you going forward. And I look at these pictures and I see the grace and the strength and the beauty in your face. And I know that just as you represented the Zwolle Tamale Festival well, you will represent scholars well. And that no matter where you are, you will be a queen in all the best ways, because you will love and care and think and rule with grace and power and intelligence. So here's to you, Queen Allison. I'm going to miss you so much.
Please tell us the title of your thesis and what your future plans are.
Okay. My thesis title is Through the Eyes of a Festival Queen, the Impact of Black Queens on Their Associated Festivals and the Reciprocated Benefits.
And what are your plans following graduation?
Hopefully, I'm really wanting to work a little bit, make some money, and then go back, get my master's in international relations, and hopefully become a foreign service officer.
Awesome. That sounds fabulous. Well, it is now my honor and privilege to declare you once a scholar, always a scholar. You are now a graduate of the Louisiana Scholars College. Congratulations, Woo!
I decided to set these up alphabetically, and that really did work out well, because Alice is neither a princess nor a queen. You're a lot more of a badass, but you, I think, are always more than you necessarily realize or show us. And I think the most important thing about you is your strength and your beauty and your sense of humor. Yet on top of all of that, it's your intelligence. So let's look at these pictures. Here's Alice with a leaf on her lip. Just being silly. But there's a strength in that gaze. There's an analysis in that gaze. That those eyes tell you that the brain's working and there's something deeper going on than most people will ever realize. And then when we were doing the independent study on Cicero, and I have to say your Latin really cranked up there. And you walked in one day dressed like the book. I mean, check this out, people. She's got the marble leggings on like the outside of the book. She's got a pink sweater on like the inside of the book. She's dressed like her freaking textbook. That's... You so often could make me laugh. And that was really special. It is really special. And then we have you presenting at a conference. And you brought this really cool perspective on Lucian's Dialogue of the Courtesans and Sugar Babies. And it was really an amazing thing. So amazing that you had to answer so many questions from people who, granted, didn't necessarily know what Sugar Babies were because it was an older crowd. But it was really wonderful the way that you answered the questions, and you taught them and you impressed them so much that you were asked to, encouraged to apply for a very selective conference for undergrads, and you were one of the ones who got in. Okay, you were chosen, and there were ones who were not, and that was danged impressive. And then when we go to this conference and we show up, and there you are in your sweat jacket. We didn't have time to check in. So this is like pretty much off the plane, and we're getting a tour of the University of Tennessee Classics Department, and they have this closet full of all sorts of cool stuff. And you, of course, have to grab a large weapon and mug for the camera. You did so well. You really did. And I know that when you enter law school, you are going to blow them away. Your thesis blew both me and Dr. Keel away because it wasn't what you started with, but damn, it was well researched once you finally got there. And it was well done, and your presentation was well done. And it kind of just left a little bit of speechlessness because it was so good. Be that good, be that scholarly the rest of your life, and don't let let them underestimate you. Because I know you want to be a lawyer, and being underestimated is the way you're going to kick their butts. It won't last for long because you'll earn your reputation. Alice, thank you for all of your help. Thank you for being there for me a lot of times, especially putting together CAMWA Southern section. And when I had a migraine and you had to go introduce the keynote speaker, the president at the banquet. Thank you for being here, for being a scholar. And Olim Docta Semper Docta. Once a scholar, always a scholar. I'm going to miss you.
Yes, I remember the first incident. I was delivering a lecture to TNT1. And this student I didn't know started heckling me. It really threw me off. I was barely able to finish. Later I learned it was Ashley. Then the rumors about me started. I knew it was Ashley spreading them. They were mostly true, but still, you don't rat out a prof. She especially liked making fun of my taste in movies and my clothes. This is the shirt. I was in a thesis defense, and she yelled at me from across the room. "Hey, Dr. Drum, nice shirt. Are you going bowling after school?" I haven't worn the shirt since. Except for bowling league, of course. She once mocked me for accidentally dressing as mustard and ketchup. I was wearing a yellow shirt and red pants. I thought it looked nice. What is the worst thing she did? Well, it's probably accusing my son of murder. Do you want to talk to him? Oh, you can't. He's in prison for murder. You want me to talk directly to her? What if I don't? I won't get the $20 you promised me? All right. Ashley, I forgive you. I know under that tough veneer there is a generous heart, a sharp mind, and a wonderful wit. There is a wonderful future ahead of you. All right, where's my $20?
Ashley, can you please tell us your thesis title?
Existential Hells, a look at existential themes in confinement films and television shows through the lens of no exit.
Excellent. And what are your plans now that you have graduated from the Scholars College?
Honestly, to live my best life and work my corporate job at the Stein home office.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. It is my great honor and privilege to declare you once a scholar, always a scholar. You're a graduate of Northwestern State.
Yay,
Scholars
thank you.
College.
Yay, thank you.
Graduating seniors, families, friends, colleagues, greetings. Thank you to the senior class for honoring me by asking me to be one of your graduation speakers. This is not a charge I take lightly in these trying times. This is not the senior year any of us would have wished for you. We would have loved to have seen your photos of formal. We would have enjoyed spending time with you at the thesis barbecue. We look forward to putting the medallions around the necks of our thesis students. And we so wanted to give you goodbye hugs as we sent you on your way. Your frustration at missing those rituals of passing is no doubt much greater than ours, but we share your sorrow. But you belong to a species that had survived because of its resilience and its adaptability. And you are intelligent and educated enough to know that this terrible inconvenience pales compared to what many of our species have contended with over the millennia and are still dealing with now. You are not living through a military siege that results in your starvation. You are not losing your homes and families as your village is burned by marauders or is bombed because of some religious dispute that, in the great picture, is ultimately insignificant. You are not graduating, as former NSU students have, during one of the world wars or the Vietnamese armed conflict, which would have meant that certainly many of you men would not have had a choice about where you were headed next. Because of your intelligence and your education, you are being cautious in dealing with a virus about which still very little is known, except that it is deadly. However, you are leaving the sheltering arms of this university to enter a world that will be vexed with problems that would have been unimaginable until recently. 2 weeks into our quarantine, my husband remarked to me that he never thought he'd have to live through a time like this. I always assumed I would. I had not considered a deadly virus to be the cause, but everything I read about climate change, coupled with the hoarding of extreme wealth in the hands of a few, made me realize the years ahead are not going to be easy ones. Ironically, the virus that has us contained in our homes is actually great for the planet. Rivers and lakes are clearing up, the air quality is better, and non-human life is thriving. As a species, we aren't necessary, and we aren't more important than other species. However, as Freud pointed out, we have egos and we also have a will to live. I am invested in my own existence and in yours. And as an older woman who daily speculates about exactly when she will retire, I am leaving the world in your hands. Not that I will forgo any of my political activism, as I'm sure you believe. But you will be the professors, the attorneys, the physicians, the veterinarians, the researchers, the politicians, the writers, the artists, the journalists who will shape the next few decades. And that is a tremendous responsibility. I believe it is a responsibility you are capable of taking on, and I believe your years with us have nudged you in the directions you need to go to take on that responsibility. You are the brightest and the best, and the world needs you. But along with your intelligent, informed leadership, we also need your compassion, your embrace of humanity, and your humor. What the world needs now is so much kindness, so much willingness to reach out a helping hand in whatever way you can. As a nation, we are so divided that we see our fellow citizens as enemies. Aid is rendered in some quarters based on political affiliation or citizenship, rather than simply because a human being requires it. The willingness to sacrifice that allowed our country to endure the struggles of the 20th century appears to have been eroded. Many have lost the capacity to consider the needs of others rather than their own desires. I charge you to do everything in your power and within your ability to change that way of thinking. Change has to start at the very lowest level and work up. Your individual acts of kindnesses, your local intervention in your communities, as well as your resisting any and all restrictions on your right to vote, are all required now. The task is daunting. But when you came to Scholars College, you set yourself up to be challenged, to let yourself learn to think in ways you hadn't considered before, to read more and write more than you ever dreamed possible, to undertake a research project and a defense of that project that was terrifying. And you did it all, with, I might add, so much grace when, in addition to everything else was occurring, you had to negotiate virtual platforms to attend class and present your work. But don't ever forget to renew yourselves. It is absolutely vital to stay informed about what is happening in the world, but we all know that listening to the news can shred our sanity. So balance that with the goodness you find around you, the acts of kindness people do for each other, especially for those who need the most help. Add to that the people in your life whom you love and whose love buoys you up, who bring a smile to your face and a warm glow to your heart. Finally, remember to laugh, heartily and without bitterness, but with sheer delight. And never forget Cute Cat videos. Congratulations, graduating class of 2020. And as always, Forkum Demons.
Hello from Morrison Hall, and congratulations to all of our graduates and their families. Thank you for inviting me to spend a few minutes with you today and say a few words on behalf of myself and my colleagues. And I'm hoping that you're really enjoying this moment, right? This day that you waited for so long. All the papers are finished. All the work has been completed. I hope you're enjoying that, taking a moment to reflect and to enjoy that. There probably will be those recurring dreams that we all have after a milestone like this, where we're still, we're back in school and we haven't finished a paper and the deadline is approaching and the archival copy of the thesis hasn't been submitted or got lost, these things like this. These dreams which will oppress us sometimes. I'd like to say that they will pass away quickly, but I think some of us are still getting them, even though our student days came to an end sometime in the late Pleistocene, or earlier for that matter. Deadlines were a big part of your experience here at the LSC, but they weren't the only part, I hope. And in a few minutes that I have today, I wouldn't mind reflecting on some other things which I hope were part of your experience, or things that you'll take away from the experience, things that we were trying to do as teachers here, right, as mentors, as guides, and things that we were trying to inculcate, values which were important to us, are important to us, which we try to embed in our classes and in our assignments. And if I look back, if I look upon those assignments and the classes that we had together, I think that one of the things that I was always interested in was encouraging you to acquire respect for knowledge, a respect for what goes into becoming an expert in something, what it takes, what it demands, right? The process, that not to be as scholars, like we're not people who settle for easy answers. We turn the problems around in our mind, look at them from different angles, right? And always ask the question, right? Why? And when you did your best work, it's because we usually felt that that's what was happening, right? That you met that high expectation, that you really raised the bar there, right? You investigated the problem from many angles. You didn't settle for the easy answer. You kept digging, kept researching. There's also the value of resourcefulness. This is a trickier one in some ways, right? Because as teachers, as guides, as mentors, as advocates for our students, right? We want to always be on your side. We want to support, we want to encourage, we want to mentor, we want to help. At the same time, we also want you to discover some of these things out for yourself, to become problem solvers, to become resourceful in the sense that when you come up against a problem or an obstacle, you find a way to get past it, right? You keep digging, you keep researching, you find a way around it, right? You overcome it, And this is something which we feel will serve you well in life, that you won't be that person when it comes to, pursuing your vocation in this next chapter, which lays before you, that, you won't be that person who, cries for help as soon as they, encounter obstacles there, that you'll be someone who takes initiative. You'll be someone who, finds a way to meet that challenge and surpass it. You'll be the person who does more than what is expected of them in situations like that, right? And so that was difficult, right? To know where to draw the line as teachers, right? Sometimes it may have seemed like we were being grouchy or testy, but maybe we were sometimes. But most of the time, if we came off that way, it's probably because we sort of wanted you to struggle a little bit, to find your way through that thicket on your own, because there was something to be gained, from doing that, from persevering like that. Life will sort of require you to persevere. It will require you to be resourceful, no matter what you do, right? To bounce back from things and to move forward. Right? Some of the things that stand out, in my mind at least, when I think about your experience, our experience together at the LSC, and I hope that that these things will serve you well in the future. I sort of feel like less is more when it comes to some of these graduation speeches, these commencement speeches. I mostly want to communicate and express to you, our gratitude for having you here, having a chance to work with you, to be part of your journey here, and to wish you all so much success in life. And not just success in maybe the simplest way to measure, way of measuring that, that term, but contentment and peace and happiness, things which, sometimes are even harder to find, right, or harder to achieve than perhaps they should be. But we wish you the very best, and again, congratulations to all of our graduates, to your families, on a job very well done. Godspeed.
Hello, Scholars College Class of 2020. I'm so honored and humbled to have the opportunity to speak to all of you for our virtual graduation. I know that none of us could have imagined that it would be happening under these circumstances, but Moliere once said, "The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it." The present situation does not negate or diminish what each of us have accomplished throughout our time at Scholars. It does not erase the countless nights we spent studying for finals, pulling all-nighters, or drinking way too much coffee. And it does not erase the effort we put into our virtual thesis defenses, as chaotic as they may have been, and it does not change the friendships that we have built through encouragement, scholarship, and maybe a few tears. And it most certainly will not lessen the overwhelming sense of pride that each of us will have when we can finally hold the diplomas that we've earned through years of hard work. Our world may be completely different now, but I find peace knowing that some things will never change, like the sense of family that I found through the Louisiana Scholars College. Once a scholar, always a scholar. Distance doesn't diminish that, whether it's 6 feet, 6 miles, or 6 states away. So to my fellow 2020 graduates, take a moment to revel in the glory of overcoming one of life's greatest obstacles, and be proud of all that you have accomplished. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and letting me learn from you. I'm a better scholar and person thanks to your influence. I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors. Now is the time for us to share what we've learned with the world, because it's going to need us really soon. And as Mother Teresa said, yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come, and we only have today. Let us begin. Class of 2020, congratulations. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, fork 'em demons.
Hi everyone, we made it! Woo, 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 woo. These past 4 years have been crazy, but we made it. Now I will use my time that you all chose to give me to nerd out and teach you all something. Keep in mind, you chose me to talk, so this is what you get. In my thesis, I touch on how some ecosystems rely on fire. The plants and animals need these fires to occur to free up nutrient space and allow for a new generation of growth. Looking back, I can't help but to think of all of us. Like these individuals, we have been born of fire. We embrace that which would ravage and destroy and use it to better ourselves. Seeing this kind of strength and resilience makes me think that I might actually be able to save species. It makes me think that you all can cure diabetes, change the world's view on vaccinations, educate the masses on gay literature, show what it truly takes to be a queen, teach the world a thing or two about existentialism and all of the other amazing topics you all have been working on. I never thought that I would see such strength and determination in so many individuals. Now, we move on to some of our fire starters. That's right, our professors. I want to tell you all thank you for helping us navigate through the flames you have walked through countless times before. I don't think we could have gotten luckier with you all to teach and guide us. Now, back to my peers. Breathe. We made it. I know we all will prosper wherever we go, and we all know who we can go to when we need a spark to rekindle our flame. Thank you all so much for letting me speak. I'm sorry that this is short. I wanted to be able to email it to KB to put it in. I wish you all the best in your endeavors, and good luck on any of your pursuits. Bye, guys.
Congratulations to our graduating seniors of the Louisiana Scholars College. I am so very proud of you of becoming graduates of the Louisiana Scholars College and Northwestern State University. As you know, we have a long and proud history and some outstanding graduates of the Louisiana Scholars College who are out throughout the state, nation, and world accomplishing great things. I have absolutely no doubt that you're going to be doing these same things as becoming graduates of the Scholars College. Wishing you the best over the next several months and throughout your career. And as always, Forkum Demons.
Well, this concludes our virtual celebration. Unless I can convince my son, who did edit all the videos, to make us a blooper reel. We'll see if we can get that out to you. I want to thank everyone who participated in this celebration. I want to congratulate the families of our graduates for all their hard work, all the blood, sweat, and tears they put into making sure that our graduates reached this wonderful day. And to the class of 2020. You are stronger than you know. You have already exceeded any and all expectations. You will soar higher and you will change the world. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. I am so proud of each and every one of you. Do good things. Stay in touch. Remember, once a scholar, always a scholar. And in the immortal words of my dear friend, Hunter Horton, as always, Forkum Demons.